Hello everyone, I hope you are well. I'm glad you're on this lesson and you're learning the first lesson that's posted on this YouTube channel, actually the first lesson one, which is called Market Structure. In this lesson, I will explain the details of the Forex algorithm as well as the most important settings that need to be followed while learning. Learning is a very important part. And it is very important to understand that proper learning leads to proper and long-term profitability, to a quality discipline plan that has duration and is constant. At the beginning, I want to explain that the Forex market is divided into two different structures that have a certain trend and a third structure that does not have any trend. There are three market structures in total: market structure of uptrend, downtrend, and consolidation. The structure of the uptrend market looks like we will see a structural part that constantly transmits more liquidity, actually contracts above all these higher levels, and later a retrend is formed that continues its structural part in exactly the same way. What is very important is to understand that in addition to the uptrend, there is also the opposite called the downtrend, where we will see the structural part in the form of sales. So the UK 100 cash index that we follow here at the Purpose Owned Brokerage House, we will see that from the price of PKR, it reaches the price of PKR, which tells us that in this case, the market structure was in the downtrend function, while in this first initial part, the structural part was in the uptrend buying function of that UK 100 cash index. When we look at this part, the price was PKR, 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 where later the price of PKR is reached. An uptrend is actually when there is a certain structural part that increases an index or a certain currency, depending on which symbol or pair we follow. And there is also a downtrend where the price decreases depending on that. What is technical analysis? What is fundamental analysis and other characteristics? The last market structure or structural part moving in one direction looks like this, where we don't see any transfer of liquidity, but a constant price forming in a constant one direction. We will see that in this case, the price is worth PKR, PKR. But after due time, we see that the price is worth very similar to that much, and that is then the consolidation of one structural part of one price. In this lesson, one of the most important things is to understand basically what an algorithm is, how an algorithm is divided, and how we can classify it into several branches, or we can say that one root called an algorithm, how we can classify it into a section that is divided on several branches. You should write this down in your notebook. I expect you have a notebook prepared where you can write it down. The algorithm is divided into complete and incomplete orders. A complete order is exactly the same as an order block. Order block is exactly the same as consolidation. Consolidation is the same as Wyckoff, and Wyckoff is divided into constant or relative. An incomplete order is impulsiveness or imbalance. When we look at this structural part, we will understand that it exists uptrend and decade in a constant buying range. However, when we look at this first structural part, we will see that it contains certain variations, buying in smaller fractal, in smaller downtrend. Globally, when we look at this whole picture, you will see that it is in a buying trend. But whenever we look at short sales that occur in this trend, which are known on YouTube, we may be easier if various YouTube traders like to use it, higher high, higher low. It's very much something that we will not do, which is already a failed theory, which does not lead so much to quality. We will do it in much more detail. So I expect you to concentrate. When you look at the trend that is formed in this part, you will see that it is strongly impulsive and that after it there is again a new structural part that also forms a trend. and we will see that in this case there is a renewed downtrend which also forms a new structural part, a complete order, a new order block, and after that an incomplete order is formed again. So let's practice that part now. When we look at the uptrend, when we look at the structural part of the buying, in that purchase, we will also see short-term sales of this index and short-term purchases of this index. Short-term sales of this index, short-term purchases of this index, short-term sales of this index, short-term purchases of this index. Here we go again, short-term sales of this index and short-term purchases of the same index. Short sales in this case, when it comes to in uptrend, will indicate a complete order. Short-term purchases in this case will indicate an incomplete order. Short sales in uptrend will indicate a complete order. Short-term purchases in uptrend will indicate an incomplete order. Short sales in uptrend will indicate a complete order. Short-term purchases in uptrend will indicate an incomplete order. Let's go again now. Short-term sales in a downtrend will indicate a complete order. Short-term purchases during an uptrend will indicate an incomplete order. This work that you are now starting to do, you are now watching the first lesson. And looking at the first lesson, you expect quality knowledge, and that's absolutely fine. However, it is very important to understand that after theory comes quality practice and quality experience that has its own duration, and that needs to pass a certain period in order for absolutely every individual to have quality progress. I hope you have already written down what I explained. We have explained the following here, that short sales indicate a complete order. In this case, it says that a complete order is exactly the same as an order block. Order block is exactly the same as consolidation. That tells us that this is a short-term sale called an order block or consolidation. A short sale is a complete order. Complete order is a complete order. We will see that in this case, that short-term, the sale is actually a complete order. It is exactly the same as an order block. Order block is exactly the same as consolidation. Let's move on again. A short sale is a complete order. We will see in this part that writing a complete order is exactly the same as an order block. Order block is the same as consolidation, which means that this is a complete order, order block, and consolidation. Move on. A short sale is exactly the same as a full order, and here we are told that the complete order is the same as the order block. Order block is the same as consolidation. Short-term shopping. It is this very part that we see here, and it arises in the course of this strong impulsiveness after the already complete order. We will see that this short-term purchase is actually an incomplete order, impulsiveness or imbalance. Short-term buying, but clearly speaking in the uptrend, is an incomplete order, impulsiveness and imbalance. Short-term shopping. In the course of the uptrend, there is an incomplete order, impulsiveness, and imbalance. Let's go again. A short-term purchase is in an incomplete order. In the uptrend, impulsivity and imbalance. Now, there is a contrast. Uptrend. The opposite of an uptrend is a downtrend. Therefore, the sale of a price course that, instead of progressing, is actually declining. In the course of the downtrend, in the course of sales, and now we will shorten with the fact that I believe you have understood the point of what we specifically want to explain. Short selling in a downtrend is incomplete order, which is the same as impulsiveness or imbalance. Short-term buying in a downtrend is complete order, order block, and consolidation. A short sale in a downtrend is an incomplete order, which is the same as an imbalance or impulse. A short-term purchase is a complete order in a downtrend, which is the same as consolidation and order block. Short-term selling is an impulse. Short-term buying is a complete order. Short-term selling in a downtrend is an incomplete order. Short-term buying in a downtrend is a complete order. A short sale in a downtrend is an incomplete order, etc. It is very important to write it down and to look at it in practice and try to experience that part. I will now explain something in more detail, but I will not repeat this part again because this is definitely a video clip and you can return this to us more than once. I want to explain in detail what short-term buying and short-term selling are during an uptrend. Now we're going to delete all of this when we look at the uptrend and see characteristics of the uptrend. It is very important to note one part. We will notice that every time during the uptrend, or we can say technically the most correct, in 80 to 90% of the cases, whenever there is a short sale, during uptrend, we will see that there are certain variations of the smaller fractal part, smaller order blocks, of the small order blocks found in this section. We will also see that in the course of the uptrend, there are short-term variations that contain small order blocks, which later form impulsiveness again. And then we will notice that there is one difference between a complete and incomplete orders during the uptrend, which is that an incomplete order contains impulsivity, while a complete order is executed much more slowly. And now, if we were to look at the time interval of the duration of this sale, which would be, for example, from 1 or 2 o'clock at midnight, we will see that later that part ends after 8 days or after 9 days at 2 o'clock at midnight, while this impulsiveness lasts 1 day. Why is it so? And you will write it down now. It is very important because every impulsiveness is a presentation of the previous complete order. So, a complete order in the complete is incomplete. An incomplete order in the complete is complete. Let's go again. Complete order is completely incomplete. This is an incomplete previous buy. You already learned that in this lesson. So a buy in an uptrend. A short-term purchase indicates impulsiveness, an incomplete order, where later we see that there is a complete order. A complete order completes an incomplete one. Move on. With the incomplete order, this impulsivity that we see here, which lasts very short and does not contain variations of small order blocks, but contains strong impulsivity, which has a strong volume in the starting initial part of this impulsivity, we will see that with this incomplete order, the previous complete order is completed. Move on. A complete order complements the previous incomplete order. Move on. An incomplete order completes the previous complete order. Move on. A complete order complements the previous incomplete order. An incomplete order completes the previous complete order, and so on and so on. When we look at the difference between complete and incomplete ordering, we will realize that in fact the algorithm is divided into constant structural parts containing completed and incomplete orders. I have repeated it several times so that you can understand me in the best possible way. With the fact that I have many years of experience in working with quality people who are learning or who are professionals, that experience lasts a whole decade, even more. The most important thing is to understand that step-by-step system. So you can't understand that starting part as something that is fast and as something that is highly anticipated in a short period of time. When you look at Instagram or when you look at YouTube, there are usually a very large number of marketing strikes that simply try to reduce that mass of people to the system of an individual who will actually want to make a quick profit with some quality of speed of progress. And then there is a problem where people actually want to learn this business from that system of marketing strikes, understanding as if it is something that is very fast, but it is very important to understand that this is a whole school where instead of money, the art of this business is observed. In order to observe the art of this work, it is necessary to create love for this work. In order to create love for this job, you need to study and be persistent. In the end, it leads to quality discipline and better work for you as an individual. When we look at the structure of the uptrend market, we will understand that an incomplete order is constantly completed by a complete order. If we were to look at the structure of the downtrend market, we will see that a similar thing happens only in the invert scale, that is, in the inverted scale. And now when we look at the exact same scenario, in 80 to 90% of cases, we will see the exact same situation. During a downtrend, an incomplete order completes a previous complete order. A complete order completes a previous incomplete one. An incomplete order completes the previous complete one. A complete order completes the previous incomplete one. And constant volume reaches certain price courses that must be completed and that must later create their new trend in larger and smaller fractals. You'll notice that I said the word fractal 2 or 3 times during this video, but we'll leave that for the next YouTube video. This video was related to the structure of the market for the division of the structural part. I hope you liked it, and you can also watch my first YouTube video describing my FTMO profile success. I wish you all the best and see you in the next YouTube video. All the best, greetings.